The 10-minute drill.
This is a big one.
Covered by Universal Roof and Contracting. The difference is Universal.
On 1010XL.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hit it.
Hey! Welcome back in, It's 10-minute drill time.
This would be good exposure for you. Bring us back from a few breaks.
Big chance for me and a big chance for you coming up at the end of the segment, Googans, to win a prize pack, part of the 1010XL Valentine's Day gift guide. One lucky Guggen at the end of the 10-minute drill going to take home a $50 gift certificate from Kuhn Flowers and a $25 gift certificate from Edwin Watts Golf. You can find those and other fantastic Valentine's Day gift ideas at 1010XL.com.
Got you hooked up there. You can't mess that one up, right? Well, or you at least have to do this, and Hick and I have talked about that for all you younger Googans out there or just getting ready to plow your path with your betrothed. If you're going to, be together forever, it's important to sit down and prioritize. You got to find out just for sure. No hidden meanings here, no after-the-fact comebacks. I need a list here. Prioritize. Which of these are big deals? Is it birthday? Is it anniversary? Is it Mother's Day? Is it Valentine's Day? Which of these are there high expectations, and which of these can we casually celebrate together?
You have to get on the same page.
It's smart. It's smart to do it ahead. Oh, well, that takes the romanticism out of there. Listen, trust me. You'll thank me later.
Larry.
Yeah. Today's romantic is next week's divorce, okay?
Yeah, you don't want that.
You got to know. So if Valentine's Day is important to her, then I would suggest that you, don't wait till about Thursday night at 6:30 on your way home from work going, oh, God, tomorrow's Valentine's Day.
Shall we dance?
I am ready to polka.
Let's kick around some of the other big talkers in the sports world. First and foremost, I know we've talked about it this morning, but I think the thing everybody was buzzing about and talking about throughout the weekend was whether it was genuine interest or curiosity. The XFL made its debut this weekend, 4 games, kind of a mixed bag of results, and about 3.3 million people tuning in for the debut game. Will it work? I don't know. We'll see.
It's hard. You have to be a football purist to watch because there's nothing that drags you in other than watching the football.
Right, there's no big stars.
Right, and there's no standings, there's no Super Bowl, there's no history, there's no legacy.
There's no real stakes.
Correct. You can put it on FanDuel and DraftKings and make it a contest, but if nobody knows what the depth chart is or who the players are, then who cares? You go on a FanDuel of the NFL, buddy, you go down their receiver list, you got to go 100 deep before you get to a name that you don't know.
Correct.
Well, you go on the FanDuel for the receiver list here, and you don't know anyone.
Yeah, you go 1 deep, but you're like,
so there's value there. I think the industry of football can use the XFL. I think it gives the NFL one more field to scan. It gives them one more scouting opportunity. Trust me about this. Whether or not you watch the XFL, you hate it, you don't want to talk football until NFL training camp, that's all understandable. But I promise you, on these 8 teams, so that's roughly probably 350 players in the league? I don't know what their roster sizes are. I doubt they're carrying 53 like the NFL. So, let's say 350 players in the NFL. I promise you, 40 or 50 of them will be in the league. They will. I thought the best description of the talent level I heard this weekend, and I would concur. I think the best description is what you have here. Yeah, you don't have any... you don't have anybody in that's going to bust them to NFL stardom, but what you do have is that spot like 41 to 53 on the roster, right? The guys that play special teams and they're second and third teamers, and they very rarely appear, or they're inactive on Sunday when you have to inactivate 8 guys. That seems to be about where the talent level is of this league. They're at like that bottom of an NFL roster. And the reason I say that, many of those players I saw and the names that I saw this weekend had NFL ties. Many of them. I would say, I don't know.
There's a good amount of names you knew.
And I wonder what the percentage of the XFL roster has no NFL experience. Not even a training camp. I bet you very, very small.
Minimal, I would have.
Yeah, so, I thought the level of football, again, I'm not a, a football expert.
52 players on the roster.
There's 52?
Yeah, they carry 52.
Yeah, so with those 400 players, there's going to be 100 that make the NFL or at least get invited. So I thought it was okay, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you, I was back to my original point. If you don't have a huge rooting itch, if Bob Stoops isn't your favorite coach of all time, or if Aaron Murray's not your favorite player of all time, or if you can't find that hook, then you're just strictly counting on the drama of the game. And for that, I seem to treat it this weekend like I would treat a generic NBA game. And I flipped it over in the fourth quarter, and if we got a game and a couple of them were within a score, the games were still in doubt, I watched those fourth quarters. Now, partly because of the newness of the league, I couldn't tell you which games those were. I don't even know who played who. I watched all 4 games in some context, but if you gave me a quiz right now and made me tell you which team played which, I'd have to think.
Someone compared it, and I thought it was fair, to like the midweek MAC game. Like, the talent's not quite as good, and you ultimately don't really care, but you might flip it on if there's nothing else going on.
I think that's a good description. Like, I found myself watching my most XFL this weekend after 6:30 when the golf was over. Those 5 o'clock games were going into the second half. One of them was a blowout. I didn't watch hardly at all. And then yesterday's, it wasn't a blowout, but it's boring. I mean, it's 15-9. There was
what I did
no scoring.
I don't know if all the networks did this, but was the inclusion of the gambling line in the graphic.
Well, they also they've given the announcers the cue that they need to talk about that too.
Oh yeah,
they referenced
they
the
were
over
all in on it.
like yesterday. Oh, Vegas, the guys in the desert had this one at 51. We're not getting there. That was the 15-9 score. So but again, I mean, it's like betting on the XFL this weekend would be like betting on EuroLeague basketball. Yeah, there may be a few names you recognize, but you don't know who these. Worse than that, it would be like betting on the opening night of EuroLeague basketball. I mean, there's no way to know how these teams are going to come together. I don't know which. The two teams that were supposed to be the best in the XFL, Tampa Bay and Dallas, neither one of them looked very good this weekend. Yesterday, by the way, both of them lost. Aaron Murray is the quarterback in Tampa, which gives you gives you a little bit of a hook in the Southeast, but he didn't play well. So we'll see.
Now, the Big Boy League is in their lull before things get cranked back up with draft prep. But during a radio appearance, I'll read you a quote from a Hall of Famer. It says, I am telling you right now, at the Super Bowl in Miami, some very significant people that I had conversations with were leaning in that same direction. It was shocking. I had a vodka cranberry in my hand, and when they said it to me, I put the drink down and said, let's talk a little bit more about this. I promise you I had a conversation with people. I can't tell you who about the same scenario going down. I just don't know if there's a real possibility of that happening. That was Michael Irvin talking about the rumor that the Cowboys could pursue Tom Brady and then try to deal Dak Prescott.
I mean, come on, man. By the way, I think Michael Irvin had a little bit more than the vodka and cranberry.
Than one vodka cranberry?
I mean,
Might have been on his fifth or
man.
sixth.
That I saw that story this weekend. I did. I saw that story this weekend. Does that make any sense at all?
No, I mean,
it's nonsensical. I would believe more if you told me that the Cowboys have convinced Tony Romo to step out of the broadcast booth and sign him to a 2-year contract. I would believe that before I believe that, because here's why. What you have to pay Tom Brady is what you could pay Dak Prescott, who, by the way, was better statistically than Brady last year. He's about 20 years younger, for Pete's sake. That doesn't make a lick of sense, man. I mean, Brady, didn't the Patriots say they're willing to pay Brady $30 million a year?
That was at least the rumor going on, that they were open to going to that number.
Now, Tom Brady in the past has not let the salary number be the ultimate, lure for him, and he just continues to re-sign at New England without ever demanding to be the highest paid anything.
Maybe here towards the end, he's
maybe he
stashing a little cash.
But it would have to go the other way. If Dallas can't pay him $30 a year, they'd sign Prescott.
Right.
You can't if you're the Dallas Cowboys. And by the way, after those 2 years, what are you going to do? This story doesn't make a lick of sense. Would anybody in the world right now, football-wise, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are people out there listening that would, but would you guys? If I told you right now, for not just for this year, but forever, you can have Tom Brady or Dak Prescott.
Right, yeah. I'd take Prescott.
Sure you would.
Absolutely.
Because he's going to play another 10, 12 years.
Right.
Brady may play a couple or 3.
And just based off of last year, he's the better quarterback right now.
Well, and there's also this, and this isn't definite. There may be nothing to this at all, but Tom Brady's never thrived outside of New England either.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's an unknown.
I'm not going to say that's the only reason, because I counter with, well, he hadn't had the same weapons as Drew Brees and Peyton Manning and some others, and that's absolutely true. Marvin Harrison and Michael Thomas, other than Randy Moss having a cup of coffee in New England, he's never had that kind of unbelievable talent. Now, of course, he did with Gronk, maybe the best tight end of all time, certainly in the conversation. But when it just comes to outright weapons, I mean, he won a lot of games with the Wes Welkers and Julian Edelmans and Danny Amendolas and Philip Dorsetts and Brandon LaFells, and just go down the list.
Sure.
So, I can't see that, man. I can't see that, and I don't. That sounds like bar conversation. What if? But as an actual storyline, giving up on a young quarterback like Dak Prescott to get a 42? How old is
so
Brady?
what you're basically saying, you don't think Prescott, or that he's peaked,
Yeah.
and that you're punting so you could move ahead.
I don't.
Odd.
Now look, if you ask me who would win more games next year as Dallas's quarterback, I'd say Brady. I
Maybe
would,
so.
even right now, just because his leadership, his ability to win. I know it didn't look like that at the end of the year when here's another thing that sticks with me too. Tom Brady and the Patriots, with home field and a bye week and all that at their disposal, lost at home to Ryan Fitzpatrick and the Miami Dolphins in the last game of the year. That was that was alarming. That was alarming.
It was a red flag. The NCAA selection committee put out their top 16 this weekend. They had the Noles, who are number 8 in the land, as a 3 seed in the initial projection. Tonight, the Noles could go a long way towards moving up towards that 2 line as they visit Cameron and take on Duke tonight. They're an 8-point dog. How much of a chance do you give FSU of springing the upset up there?
Well, I mean, you could start this question and tell me FSU is going to play anywhere in the country, and my answer would be they got a good chance.
Sure.
They're one of the best teams in college basketball. It's almost good luck that they're on that FSU brand, that people don't really, even though they've had some success. Look, Elite Eights are great for the team that you follow. But if you are outside of that fan base, you don't remember an Elite Eight team. You barely remember a Final Four team. So
Correct.
that is the one thing that's missing from Leonard Hamilton's resume and FSU's prestige. You got to make a Final Four before people really believe in you and before you get completely on the radar. Now, sometimes you can burst your way on the radar with one postseason push. Sometimes it takes like an incremental climb. They seem to be on that incremental climb. They were, Elite Eight 2 years ago and last year's Sweet 16? Is that correct?
That sounds right, yeah.
Didn't they lose to Michigan both years or no? I love when I ask questions that I know you don't know the answer of. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm not the best college basketball.
I'm not either.
If you'd
I'm
asked
just-
me to name last year's Final Four, I would have gotten Virginia.
I'm thinking, Texas Tech and Auburn, but I'm thinking out loud here is what I'm doing. I'm not really asking you specifically. But, to the base of your question, you're darn right. I think FSU's got a great chance. Duke, by the way, was very lucky to win at North Carolina, man. It's a forgettable year in North Carolina basketball. They got 4 McDonald's All-Americans coming back next year, and they do have some young talent, although I imagine Cole Anthony will go on to the NBA. North Carolina will be back. Don't shed tears for them. But even though it's been a bad year and they've lost to bad teams, nothing will sting worse than having your arch rival Duke beaten and then letting them off the hook. So I think FSU gets a bit of an advantage going up there 2 days after such an emotional roller coaster win for Duke, and Duke is very good. I think Duke wins the game, but I certainly think that FSU, quote, has a chance.
Gonzaga got him last year
Gonzaga, okay.
in the Sweet 16.
Gotcha.
And speaking of college basketball, as we wrap it up, what did you make of some call it emotional, other people thought it was a little weird, the Bobby Knight reunion at IU Saturday afternoon?
Bobby Knight looked like he
didn't look good.
He did not look like he was all there to me, and I could be wrong, but there was they showed this little clip of him roughhousing with Dick Vitale, who was there.
He didn't look like he was playing.
He didn't look like he was playing. He had that weird, scary
you saw him,
look.
how he's staring at us and said, "Don't touch me." Like Vitale went in to hug him, man, and he was like,
he was weak, and he's got no reason to be mad at Dick Vitale unless he's like misremembering something from 1981,
right?
Which is my point. He looked like someone who wasn't quite all there, and beef. I don't know what medically. How does a man's nose get all big and purple like that? What was that about?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Outside of booze, I don't know. I'm not saying he's a drinker.
No, but does booze cause that? That's what I was wondering.
That's one of those things like synonymous with drinkers.
I mean, it looked like an eggplant.
But there's other things
dude.
too. He could have rosacea. I don't know.
And he never looked like that before. He had a sharp nose, but he had just a big old bulbous purple nose too, which looked strange. But he looked, and I don't think he was under the influence of anything. But that's how he looked. He just looked like weird to me. It does not take away though from a story that needed to be told,
long overdue,
an occurrence that needed to happen. Now you can't blame the university for turning their back on Bob Knight for a number of years. So he acted like a complete horse's ass.
Correct.
He really did. And the days of the emperor's rule are over in society for now. And that includes basketball coaches. You no longer can get away with doing anything and everything and being untouchable. And Bobby Knight found that out when he put his hands on like a student in the line at the ticket office. I mean, and then never understood, how they dare fire King Bobby Knight. So it's been, you can tell Bobby Knight would carry some bitterness. You could see it in his interaction with Dick Vitale, certainly for some reason. But Vitale looked uncomfortable, and I don't blame him. Bobby Knight
tried
looked
to kind
like
of laugh it off. And
I'm sure Vitale left like, oh man, what's happened to the general? I don't know.
It was an odd scene,
for sure,
to say the least.
Oh, just like that,
we did it.
10-minute drill's come and gone. We got breakfast with Pacelli coming up, top of the hour, 8 o'clock. How about I get you there with a football fix? That's coming up next on the Monday Morning Quarterback, divorcemenonly.com. But right now, it's our turn to be your Valentine. Beef?
Oh, yeah.
What do we got?
I'll take caller number 2 right now, Jeff. It's 641-1010. Caller number 2, 641-1010. Going to take home a $25 gift certificate from Edwin Watts and a $50 gift certificate from Kuhn Flowers. Both those part of the Valentine's Day gift guide. Get those and other great gift ideas at 1010XL.com.